Recently I did a video talking about the retirement of LBRY TV in favor of Odysee, but I didn't really go over any of the new features that have come to Odysee since the last time I did a dedicated video on this. If you've never used the Odysee website before, this is what it looks like when you're not logged in, and this is one of the things that Odysee does really well that BitChute really cannot get its act together on, and that is having a homepage that actually looks enticing. Now, I don't just mean having reasonable CSS, I mean not having your homepage just be flooded with nothing but American politics. Now, obviously BitChute has a lot of that content on their platform, but there's so much other content there as well, like electronics videos and Linux videos and gaming videos, and all of that stuff is on BitChute, but it's not the first impression you get from the website. Odysee, on the other hand, gives you a much better sense of the variety of content you can actually find. And the content you see here is generally going to be very enticing. No one's going to be sent away from Odysee seeing just some random YouTube-like videos. And then once they've got that good first impression, then they can go and explore the platform. So going back to being logged in, off to the left-hand side here, we can see we have a bunch of these different tags. Now, most of these tags were here, but there are a couple of new additions as well. Back when I did my previous Odysee video, there was a rabbit hole tag and an enlightenment tag, but neither of these tags really made that much sense what was supposed to go in them, so they've both been removed. The content that would have been in them has been shifted around to other categories that makes a little bit more sense. Another one that's gone is the nice people tag. Nice people just seem like the library staff playing favoritism with people, which isn't really that good of a look, so that's now completely gone. And we have two new ones, and those are Big Hits and The Universe. Now, one of the problems I do have with these tags is it's kind of unclear what actually goes in these tags. I would have assumed that Big Hits would be really popular videos, but most of these videos have basically no views. And the same is true with The Universe as well. This is really unclear what's supposed to be in here. And in a lot of cases, there seems to be a bit of overlap. Now, these categories aren't perfect. For example, if we go to gaming right now, there is a Luke Smith video. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure Luke doesn't do gaming videos. I would like to see these tags be a bit more clear on what they're supposed to be. Maybe have like a tooltip or something like that. And I would also like the ability to add a custom tag to the homepage as well. Let's say I just want to see things that are tagged as Arch Linux or tagged as, I don't know, some specific game. That would be a really useful thing to have as well. There's also been some improvements to the boosting system, at least in regards to channels. So next to my channel icons here, you can see there's this little star icon, and if you hover over it, says my channel is level 5 with 52 LBC staked against it. Basically, this indicates how much of an effect the boosting is actually having. If you've never used the LBRY network before, basically you can take your LBC, which is the cryptocurrency used inside of the network to do things like tipping users and also boosting content, and then, I guess, stake it against either a channel or a video, and that can be used by the search algorithms to basically rank the videos. Now, I'm not a big fan of this system because it leads to the bigger channels basically being able to boost up their content above the other content. But if it is going to exist, I like there is some transparency about how much of an effect it's going to have. Now, you don't actually need to stake 50,000 to be in level 5. Anything above 1,000 is going to be in that level. Now, I don't know if above that point, there's just no extra effect that's applied. I can say for my videos that staking 15,000 or staking 1,000 doesn't seem to have that much of an effect on views. So as the price of the coin went up, they may have shifted how much of an effect it actually has. Even so, I'm not a big fan of the system, and over time, the problem is just going to get worse and worse. While we're on the topic of supporting, we can also go and send signed tips now, basically giving us the ability to send someone a tip, and then they can see who actually sent them the tip. So in this case, I'm going to send Chris Titus 10 LBC, and if we go and confirm that, now in his wallet, he'll see he's received 10 LBC from me. Now, something people have been asking for a long time is an iOS app, which does exist now. It's in beta, it's being worked on slowly, but it at least exists, which is so much better than last time. I don't know how good it is. From what I've heard from people who actually own iOS devices, it is a bit buggy. I can't test it myself though because I don't actually own an iPhone. And this is an Odysee app rather than a LBRY app, which if you didn't watch the LBRY TV video, basically the term LBRY is now going to be used for the decentralized tools, whereas Odysee will be used for the centralized ones that don't make use of things like peer-to-peer sharing. And on the Android side, there is just a LBRY app, which is basically being completely rewritten since the last time I actually talked about it. There currently isn't actually an Odysee app on Android, though. The reason why they went with the centralized solution on iOS is because getting something peer-to-peer inside of the App Store is considerably harder. They are still working on it, but I wouldn't expect a LBRY app anytime soon on iOS. Now, the big question that everyone constantly asks whenever I mention the LBRY network is, what about transcoding? I live in an area where I have a really slow connection. How can I watch videos on Odysee? And currently, transcoding still isn't a widespread feature on the platform. So for example, this Chris Titus video doesn't actually have a quality selector on it, but the quality selector is built into the player now, and on some videos, they are testing it. So they have a solution, it just hasn't been rolled out widespread on the platform. So I would expect within maybe the next 6 months to a year, that would actually be rolled out. Now, the other big thing people ask about is live streaming, and a couple of months back, there was a test done with a really poorly chosen creator where they had live streaming actually working, but it wasn't available publicly, and I'd planned to say that it still wasn't, but you know what? Live streaming is actually available now. There's a couple of people I know who've used it, and it seems like it's working basically as well as you'd expect live streaming to work without any form of transcoding. And if you are going to be doing any live streaming on Odysee, I would recommend going and checking out Tuxfu's channel because he's done a really, really good video about getting tip notifications working inside of a live streaming. These are tip notifications using LBC. And along with this, he has chat embedded inside of his live stream video, and that is being done with a program made by this guy right here, who I've had on my podcast before. I recommend going and checking him out. There's also been some pretty awesome improvements to comment threads as well. One of those being, we have a like and dislike system, and if the dislikes go above a certain threshold, basically that comment will be hidden like on Reddit. Now, I'm not a big fan of that part because it does lead to people basically ganging up on others, but it's still nice to have a like and dislike system. Also, as the creator of a video, I can go and heart a comment, and then anyone else can see that I've done that. Now, this, I don't know when it was added, but I was going to say it wasn't here yet. We have comment moderation, so I can go and pin comments, and I can go and remove comments, and that's all I need. That's all that needs to be there to make comment moderation decent. Comment threads are also working perfectly as well. So if you go and reply to a comment, your comment will be indented relative to the comment you're actually replying to. And there used to be issues where if you comment on something that's already indented, it wouldn't actually indent it properly. But that issue is no longer there. Also, the way that channel moderation works has been changed as well. So if we go back to my channels, as we can see, both of these have an earnings per view of 0.34 LBC. Now, having earnings per view isn't actually a new thing to the LBRY network, but having it be a number that isn't static actually is. I think back on my previous Odysee video, it would have been 5 LBC per view, maybe it was even 10, but it was that number until it stopped being that number. In the case of the new system, this number will fluctuate day to day based on some sort of factors. I don't actually know how they work because they are a little secretive about the way they actually calculate this number. But this monetization system isn't going to be forever. Basically, it's being funded by the initial mining pool that the LBRY Inc. staff took for themselves, and then once this pool is depleted, then they'll have to come up with some other way to continue the monetization going. Yes, tipping is really useful, but having things like, say, channel memberships or maybe optional advertisements or some other system will be a really good addition to the platform as well. Along with this, the platform has grown immensely, so my main channel is at 21,500 followers and my podcast channel is at 16,500. Now, since the last time I did a video on Odysee, I think I've gained about 7,000 followers, and even though my sub count hasn't risen by, you know, a double or a triple or anything like that, the view counts I'm getting on my videos are considerably higher, so going to my main channel, let's go to something that's fairly normal. Let's say this one right here. So this one has 639 views. That amount of views would have been completely unthinkable for a regular video a couple of months back. Back then, I was getting maybe 200 or 300 on a video. So people are actually returning to the platform now, and I think something that does help out with that is the fact that notifications are actually working now. So for a while, we did have notifications, but you didn't get things like comment notifications, and not having comment notifications means that people are far less likely to return to a video to actually engage with the creator. Like with YouTube, there's an equivalent to the bell where you'll get video notifications. Typically, though, I will disable this because the Odysee sub box actually works unlike YouTube. But the main advantage for notifications is comment notifications, because when someone leaves a comment, I know about that comment, and then anyone in the thread they're commenting on also knows about that comment as well, which leads to people being far more active on the platform and actually creating some sort of community like what exists over on YouTube. Now, there is a bit of a problem with Odysee continuing to improve, and that is that Odysee is the centralized interface to access the LBRY network. So the videos on the LBRY network are stored in a very similar way to something like BitTorrent, where you have a bunch of nodes, they all have copies of the data, and then when you try to download a video, you'll pull a bit of data from each of these nodes, and then hopefully once you've downloaded it yourself, you will then start seeding to other people who want to download the video. But on Odysee, you don't actually see anything, so pretty much you're just acting as a leech. And data streaming costs is one of the things that brings down a lot of video platforms. And right now, there's not really any incentivization for third parties to actually go and run their own nodes. I know there have been talks of ways to do that, but right now, nothing like that exists. So while I am hopeful for the future of Odysee, that is a serious problem that the people working at LBRY Inc. really need to address before it actually becomes a big issue. So that'll be pretty much everything for me, but before I go, I would like to thank my supporters. So a special thank you to Chris, Joachim, Donald, Michael, Andrew, Nathan, David Monzar, Will, Brennan, Chica Bento, Jamie Joseph, Mitchell Pittity, Stephen Tony Tushar, and all of my $2 supporters. If you'd like to go support my work, there are links down below to my Patreon, subscribe, start, LBRY, all that sort of stuff. I've got my podcast, Tech Over Tea, available basically anywhere. And then this channel is available on Odysee and BitChute if you want to watch on a platform that isn't YouTube. So I think that's going to be pretty much everything for me, and I'm out.